The morning sun rose over the city like a quiet witness, spilling light onto streets that rarely paused to notice who carried its burdens. That was the day Harish Malhotra, a self-made millionaire whose name once moved markets, pulled a faded scarf over his head, slipped into a worn sari, and stepped into a world that had never bowed to his wealth. His hands, used to signing contracts, gripped the cold metal handle of a garbage cart, and with that single step, he crossed a line that would test not his daughter-in-law's manners, but her soul. Before the story unfolds any further, take a moment. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel Good Soul, where stories like this remind us who we really are. Harish had not always believed such a test was necessary. For years, he trusted that values revealed themselves naturally, but doubt had crept in after his son's marriage. The family home was large and bright in the daytime, filled with marble floors that reflected sunlight and walls that displayed framed success. Yet something felt hollow. His daughter-in-law, Kavina, managed the household with efficiency, but there was a sharpness to her orderliness, an impatience that surfaced when anything disrupted her routines. Harish wondered if comfort had dulled compassion, if prosperity had built invisible walls. So he chose a disguise that erased his status completely, transforming himself into someone most people looked past without a second thought. By late morning, the city was fully awake. Traffic hummed, vendors shouted, and dust shimmered in the light. Harish, bent beneath the weight of the cart, moved slowly through the neighborhood where his own mansion stood like a monument. The heat pressed against his skin, and the smell of waste clung to him, unfamiliar and humbling. Each step was a reminder of the invisible labor that kept the city breathing. When he reached his gate, the security guard barely glanced at him, waving him through with practiced indifference. Inside the compound, the garden bloomed under careful care, a sharp contrast to the street outside. Harish felt the sting of irony as he waited, his presence small against the grandeur he had built. Kavina noticed the garbage collector only because the cart squeaked against the driveway stones. Daylight filtered through the open windows as she stood overseeing household tasks, her mind busy with schedules and expectations. Seeing the disguised figure triggered annoyance rather than curiosity. The delay, the intrusion, the disruption, it all pressed on her nerves. Harish felt the weight of her gaze before a word was exchanged, the way people look at obstacles rather than humans. He moved carefully, deliberately slower than necessary, to see what patience might surface. Inside him, memories stirred of his own childhood mornings, when his mother had scrubbed floors for strangers, returning home exhausted but dignified. The tension of that moment stretched like a held breath. Kavina's reactions were efficient and cold at first, directing the task with clipped gestures, clearly eager for it to be finished. Yet as minutes passed, something shifted. The sun climbed higher, and sweat traced lines down Harish's face. A small stumble caused the cart to tilt, scattering debris near the steps. For a brief second, the mask of control cracked. Kavina froze, confronted with inconvenience made visible. Then, unexpectedly, she knelt to help gather what had spilled, her movements hesitant, as if she surprised herself. Harish felt a quiet ache in his chest, sensing the internal struggle she hadn't known she was carrying. The rest of the day unfolded slowly. Kavina returned with water, setting it down with a stiffness that softened into concern when she noticed the trembling in Harish's hands. The house around them seemed to listen. Daylight poured across the floor, illuminating dust motes and small truths alike. Kavina's life, built around appearances and expectations, suddenly brushed against a reality she rarely touched. In that simple act of offering help, something unspoken passed between them, a recognition of shared humanity that no wealth could buy. Harish realized the test was no longer about judgment, but about witnessing growth. When Harish finally revealed himself, removing the scarf and standing upright, the truth landed with the weight of revelation. Kavina's face drained of color, then filled with something deeper than embarrassment. She saw not a trick, but a mirror held up to her choices. The revelation did not come with anger or triumph. Instead, it came with a quiet explanation of why he had done this, of the fear that comfort could harden the heart. Kavina listened, the walls she had built trembling under the light of understanding. That day marked not an end, but a beginning. From that afternoon onward, the house changed in subtle ways. Kavina began to notice the people who passed through their lives, greeting them by name, offering patience where she once offered speed. Harish watched from a distance, his heart lighter, knowing the test had planted something real. The story was never about deception, but about awakening. Sometimes, it takes stepping into the dust and daylight of another life to remember what truly matters. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of compassion rediscovered in the most unexpected places, please take a moment now to like the video, share it, and let us know you felt it. Special request, comment below and tell us, have you ever been changed by a small act of kindness? In the bright honesty of daytime, Harish learned that wealth could test others, but humility could transform everyone, and Kavina learned that the greatest inheritance was not money or status, but the courage to see and serve with an open heart.